You packed your bags, double-checked your passport, and even got to the airport 2 hours early. Like a pro. Then it starts. Your solo ticket quietly triggers a surprise fee. TSA flags your power bank. A security agent suddenly wants to know what kind of plastic your shampoo bottle is made from, and you haven't even taken your shoes off yet. Welcome to air travel in 2025. Airports around the world have quietly rolled out new policies, new tech, and rules that, while meant to make flying smoother, are turning routine trips into expensive guessing games. The systems are faster, the screenings are smarter. But if you're not one step ahead, the smallest oversight can delay you, deny you, or cost you money over something that used to be no big deal. So in this video, we're breaking down the most important airport changes of 2025. What's different? What's catching travelers off guard? And what you can do right now to avoid the chaos. Because this year, even something as simple as flying solo might come with baggage you didn't see coming. So you booked a weekend getaway, no group chat, no travel buddy, just you, a carry-on, and a window seat with your name on it. Then you check the price. And wait, how does the same exact flight cost less if you book for two? That's what some Delta passengers started noticing in early 2025. A one-way fare showed up as $199 when booking solo, but dropped to $118 per person if you booked for two. No promo code, no pop-up, just a quiet price shift, based entirely on how many people were in the booking. According to reports, this pricing quirk was tied to something called accompanied travel. In plain English, you paid more unless you booked with someone else. And here's the weird loophole. If you book two or more tickets together, even if you're not sitting together, you might dodge the fee, which means you're basically being punished for booking independently. Naturally, backlash came fast. Frequent flyers called it tone-deaf and discriminatory, especially older passengers and solo travelers who fly often. Delta didn't make an announcement, no press release, just quietly walked it back. But don't exhale just yet, because United and American have reportedly tested similar tactics under different names. So while Delta's version might be gone, the idea? Still circling. Flying solo in 2025? Still totally worth it. Just maybe double-check that price before clicking book. Quick question, are you a solo traveler or do you usually fly with someone else? Drop it in the comments. I'm genuinely curious how many of us would have paid that quiet little price for independence. Remember when power banks were the unsung heroes of every flight? Quietly waiting in your bag, saving your phone when the seatback USB gave up halfway through a movie? Well, not anymore. After a mid-air fire earlier this year, linked to a power bank on a flight in South Korea, airlines around the world have started changing the rules. Fast. In the US, Southwest was the first major carrier to act. Starting May 2025, they've banned passengers from using power banks stored in overhead bins. If you want to charge mid-flight, your device and your charger has to stay visible. Think seat back pocket, tray table, or in your hand. If it's out of sight, it's a risk. And the flight crew might ask you to unplug or move it. The reason? Safety and speed. If something starts overheating, they need to see it and reach it instantly. Seconds matter, and nobody wants their plane rerouted because someone's charger decided to throw a tantrum at 35,000 feet. And don't assume your fancy brand gets a pass. Even Anchor, one of the most trusted names in charging tech, recalled over 1 million units of its PowerCore 1000 in June. The fire risk wasn't theoretical, it was real. So here's the move. If you travel with a power bank, keep it in your personal item, under the seat, not overhead. Never check it. That's already banned. And maybe skip the no-name battery pack you got at a gas station 5 years ago. If the good ones are getting pulled, the cheap ones are basically ticking time bombs with USB ports. Also, check your airline's policy. In 2025, rules vary not just by airline, but sometimes even by route. The last thing you want is to learn your charger made the no-fly list somewhere over Nebraska. Seriously, don't be the reason for an unscheduled landing because your power bank couldn't handle turbulence. Smart luggage, scooters, Bluetooth backpacks. On the surface, they look like cool upgrades to your travel game. But in 2025, they might be the reason you miss your flight. Here's the deal. If your device has a built-in lithium battery that can't be removed, it's officially a red flag. Doesn't matter if it's powered off. Doesn't matter if you promise not to use it. If TSA or the airline sees there's no way to detach the battery, you're not getting it on board, or even in the cargo hold. That's right, if it can't be carried on and it can't be checked, it's not flying. Period. Why? Because lithium batteries, especially big ones, can overheat, and if that happens mid-flight, especially in the cargo hold where no one can respond, it's a real danger. Airlines aren't taking chances anymore. Even smaller smart gear is under the microscope. A backpack with a hidden charger? That Bluetooth tracker in your luggage tag? If the battery isn't clearly labeled or removable, expect extra questions at security. Now, if your smart device does have a removable battery, you've got a shot. The battery must go in your carry-on, not your checked bag, and it needs to be protected, terminals covered, ideally in a fireproof pouch, and easy to show if asked. But there's one spec that shuts everything down: 160 watt-hours. If your battery exceeds that, it doesn't matter how removable it is. It's banned. No carry-on, no checked bag, no exceptions. So what's the move? Check the watt-hour rating on your device before you head to the airport. Can the battery come out? Is it labeled? If not, you might be better off shipping it ahead as cargo. Because once you're standing at the gate, it's too late to negotiate with a flight crew that's already watching the clock. Imagine this, you're at the airport, breezing through security with your laptop still zipped in your bag. No need to take out your liquids. No need to untangle your cables like it's a TSA-themed escape room. It almost feels too good to be true. That's because it kind of is. In 2025, more US airports are testing out advanced CT scanners powered by AI. On paper, it sounds amazing. 3D scans, machine learning, fewer delays. You don't have to unpack a thing, and the machine does all the heavy lifting. But here's the part they don't put on the welcome screen. AI doesn't miss much, and it doesn't let the little stuff slide. That bottle of lotion you've flown with 10 times before, suddenly flagged. The snack bar in your carry-on, under review. One passenger even had their shoes pulled for extra screening, not because of metal, but because the scanner didn't like how thick the soles were. Turns out, the AI detected something unusual in the midsole foam. Was it dangerous? No. Was it enough to earn a manual check? Yep. And while the tech is impressive, what really matters is how much stricter the system has become. Things that used to glide through without a second glance are now getting flagged. The smarter the scan, the sharper the filter, and that means more unexpected holdups for you. Even worse, it's not universal yet. At some terminals, you'll go through the new system and be done in minutes. At others, you're back to the old dance. Laptop out, liquids in a baggie, belt off, arms up, which means the same exact item could pass through one terminal and get flagged at another. It's like airport roulette, with AI as the dealer. So yes, the tech is faster. Yes, it's smarter. But it also means your packing game needs to be tighter than ever. Because in 2025, getting past security isn't the win. It's beating the algorithm that's judging every zip, click, and granola bar. You're sitting at the gate, phone in hand, noise-canceling earbuds on. Everything feels calm, maybe too calm. Then you glance up and the screen's changed. Your flight isn't there, your gate is empty, and your plane already gone. No final call, no boarding announcement, no last chance reminder over the loudspeaker. Just silence and a closed boarding door. That's not a glitch, that's the new normal. More airports around the world are going quiet, ditching loudspeaker announcements in favor of digital-only updates. Zurich, Helsinki, Kuala Lumpur, and now some terminals in the US are quietly following suit. And yes, flights are being missed because of it. In May, a woman in Zurich missed her connection to Rome even though she was seated near the gate the entire time. She had notifications off, didn't check the screen, and never heard a single announcement. Because there wasn't one. These silent airport policies are meant to reduce noise and create a calmer environment. But unless you're glued to your phone or staring at the screen every 5 minutes, you're flying blind. This hits hardest for certain travelers. Older adults, families juggling kids, anyone unfamiliar with the airport layout. One missed update and the whole trip unravels. So what can you do? Download the airline app. Turn on push notifications. Check the departure board like it owes you money. Because in a silent terminal, no one's coming to find you. You miss your gate? That's on you. No rebooking. No sympathy. Just a very quiet trip to the customer service desk. It's been 2 months since the Real ID rule officially kicked in, and you'd think by now, people would be ready. But every day, across airports from JFK to LAX, travelers are still getting caught off guard. They show up like normal, ticket in hand, bags packed, license ready, only to be stopped cold at the TSA checkpoint. No gold star, no passport, no boarding today. Missing the flight is bad enough, but what really throws people off is the confusion. 1 minute you're in line with everyone else. Next thing you know, you're being pulled aside, answering questions, watching the clock run out. Some never even make it past security. Not because they broke the rules, but because no one told them their regular ID had quietly expired as far as TSA is concerned. Real ID isn't a suggestion anymore. It's federal law. If your license doesn't meet the new standard, it's no longer enough to get you through security. And TSA's been very clear this time. There won't be another extension. And no, they can't just let it slide. The rule is simple. No compliant ID, no domestic flight. Now sure, you can use a passport instead. In fact, many TSA agents actually prefer them. They scan faster, fewer issues. But not everyone travels with one, and for millions of Americans, a driver's license is still their go-to ID. The problem is that ID doesn't work anymore unless it's been upgraded. And with DMV appointments backed up for weeks in some states, especially places like New York and California, getting one last minute isn't always an option. TSA agents are already warning about bottlenecks, lines getting longer, tempers getting shorter, and travelers who thought they were early are still missing flights because they spent an hour being questioned over something as basic as ID compliance. All because they didn't know what the new rule really meant. So if you haven't checked your license yet, really looked at it, do it. Because no one wants to be that person stuck in line, suitcase by their side, watching their flight take off without them, just because their card wasn't the right kind of card. For years, getting a refund from an airline felt like trying to return socks to a vending machine. Delayed flight? Too bad. Lost luggage? File a complaint and wait forever. Paid for Wi-Fi and legroom, but got neither? That's just airline flexibility, right? Not anymore. As of late 2024, the US Department of Transportation finally stepped in, and things have changed. Now, if your domestic flight is delayed more than 3 hours or 6 hours internationally, you're owed a refund. Automatically. No begging, no chasing. Just a credit card refund within 7 days. Paid with cash or miles? You've got 20 days, max. And if your bag is delayed or your paid add-ons never showed up, same deal. Airlines are now legally required to pay up. Here's another big one. If you get bumped because they oversold your flight, you could get up to $2,150 in cash. Not travel credit, not a voucher with blackout dates. Real money tied to how late you arrive. Oh, and remember those hours on hold just to talk to a real person? That's over too. Any airline flying 30 seats or more now has to provide 24/7 human customer service by phone, chat, or message, not just during business hours, not just on Tuesdays. There are even stricter rules around tarmac delays. Stuck on the runway over 2 hours? They owe you food and water. 3 hours? You get off the plane? Unless there's a direct safety reason not to. And if your checked bag is damaged or goes missing, you can claim up to $4,700. If it's a mobility device, like a wheelchair, there's no limit. These protections apply to any flight touching US soil, whether it's domestic or international. So if an airline tries to stall, redirect, or shrug you off, don't guess. File your claim. Because in 2025, your passenger rights aren't up for debate. They're federally backed. So flying solo might cost extra. Your power bank could ground you. And even your lotion bottle needs to be on its eco game. But here's the good news. Now you know. You're walking into the airport with more awareness, better prep, and a much lower chance of getting caught off guard by a gate agent, a scanner, or a silent terminal. If this video saved you from losing your stuff, missing a flight, or just taught you something new, hit that like button, share it with your travel buddy, and subscribe for more no-nonsense tips from the sky. And hey, What's the weirdest airport surprise you ever faced? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear the horror stories. See you in the next one. And maybe this time with a charger that's TSA approved.